Hey, Courtney. Just wanted to kind of go ahead and do a digital audit for you. This is sort of my new way of doing this. But anyway, so what I'm going to do is kind of walk through the website and some of the social media stuff, give you some of my impressions and thoughts, and hopefully that will help you as you look at redesigning your website and moving forward with doing some marketing stuff. So anyway, we are here at your website. And initially, it looks okay, but it's kind of busy. I can tell right away that this is not going to be an easy site to be mobile friendly with. There's a lot of navigation up here that has to be clicked on. And that's one thing you want to think about when you do this is that the the majority of traffic these days is on a mobile device, and so scrolling, it used to be that you wanted everything above the fold, so people didn't have to scroll, and we've gone back to scrolling is better because it's the easier way to navigate on a phone is just to scroll rather than having to click buttons to go to the next page. So anyway, but the front page is okay. Not a great picture, I'll be honest. I hope that doesn't offend anybody, but um, it's just a picture of the building. Oftentimes, businesses have that kind of mentality where they want to show off the building, but no one really cares about a building. They care about the relationship. So a much better picture to be in there would be a picture of you as the vet taking care of a pet, or a happy family and their golden retriever, or something like that. Something that people can relate to, something with a person. So I get the tendency to do this, but I would definitely change that to be a much more um, person and relationship oriented cover photo there. Um, this kind of stuff is just sort of small text. It's probably not going to get read real easily. It's something that's easily skipped over when people are particularly looking for where to go and what they're trying to do. Um, So going back to the navigation, again, this is one of those common errors. The the tendency is to want to do something about you. So you're talking about us first, but your customer doesn't really want to see what's about you first. They want to hear how you're going to help them. So things like our services should be the next thing. And a home button, just so you know, also is kind of obsolete at this point. It should be that you click on, the main logo of the page and things like that and scrolling. So a home is kind of something you want to avoid now. But about us, I would move and have if you're going to do a navigation like this, our services would be the first priority because that's where people are actually going to want to try to go to first to figure out exactly what you do. So, but just going down the list here, our services, about us. It's just a nice little paragraph. It looks kind of wordy, at least in this format. I know you got a picture here, but I think I would use some more graphics, some more images, something like that, and get personal with it. I'm just reading this through real quick. It's a lot of we's, we. But you might want to talk, something personal, how you got into it, maybe talk about some of the staff, things like that. And I would make about us and meet the staff part of the same page because they're really the same thing, right? So meet the staff. This is nice. You get pictures of people. The fun facts is nice, but you do want to make this consistent. You've got Nick, with a picture of a dog, and then you're missing some photos there. So you do kind of want to gather that together to make it a little bit more consistent. They don't have to be, a headshot with a white background kind of consistent, but you do at least want, a person in each of those. Not the best picture of Kaylee either. I know where you're using it. It's probably, one of the only ones you had, but I would work on trying to get something a little bit more consistent with that. Going to our services, this is where I see the most issues because this is really where you're telling people what you do. And the first thing that I see is puppy and kitten care. And so as a consumer, as a potential customer, if I have any other pet besides a puppy or a kitten, I'm instantly thinking, oh, you don't do that. And so this is what's there. And then eventually, if I have stayed on the page long enough, I realize that you've got this other kind of awkward navigation over here. And then I can click on that and I can see a bunch of other stuff. I would fix that so that you've got what you do laid out a little bit easier. And again, this gets very text heavy, and people just aren't going to read a lot of text. I would find a way to eliminate some of this text while you're here and clean that up. It might even be better to, on our services page, headlines for puppy, dentistry, all that kind of stuff. And here, way down here, kind of buried, is the boarding, which I know is something that you do, but it seems very buried in the site. It does not seem obvious at first touch that you are anything other than a veterinarian hospital. That boarding is something that I'm not seeing any mention of until way down here, buried in the page. In touring our facility, the same sort of issue comes up. It's, the lobby, exam rooms, treatment area. I'm not a fan of this navigation here because I can't easily just scroll to the next thing. I have to kind of click through it, and again on mobile, that's not a good thing. And again, boarding is not even listed on this first piece because it's all about the hospital and the veterinary area. But boarding, becomes sort of at this tail end here, kind of buried where you don't see it right away, and you have to know how to scroll through that. So again, I think I would emphasize a little bit better how to board, and maybe emphasize that with some good photos and maybe some video. And then you've got forms. I'll click on that real quick. That looks intimidating. This new client form. This big long link here. I know that that's the actual link, but I would just have something that says, download our form and click here, kind of a thing, and not have the entire URL there, because that looks a little intimidating. Also, I'm going to click on it just to see how that opens up. Yeah. So ideally, what you'd really want to do with this is make it so that it's a form that's fillable. If someone's on their mobile device, this is an instant turnoff. They're just not going to be able to deal with this in any way, shape, or form. If you had a way of making a mobile version of this where it was literally just a form, a web form that they could fill out and submit, that would be great. But that's going to be problematic to your clients that are specifically on mobile. So yeah, print it out and bring it, or email it. This link here, if you're going to say or email it, it should be clickable. That way that's something that they can do from a computer without having to copy and paste. You'll be surprised at how many people don't know how to make that happen on a desktop computer. If they can't click it, they don't know how to do that. It's, you want to eliminate customer hurdles, and that's not being able to click on that or hit email now kind of a thing is ultimately going to be a customer hurdle that you could lose somebody and they could just check off the page. And then this boarding check-in form, that's a confusing thing because it talks about being a check-in form, but then you got to email you to get the form, and it seems like, why couldn't that just be listed here the same way the client form was? But ideally, there's a better solution for both those things. So as a potential client, that's a confusing thing. That seems like a big hurdle that I have to go through to try to figure out what's going on. It's not inherently clear to the first-time user. All right, so down here in the footer, I like that you have a footer, and I like that you have the office hours down here. That makes it clear. You've got your address and phone number. What would be great is to add a link where you can just go right to like a Google Maps page and do that, particularly if you're on mobile. You got your social proof here with your Google Plus, which is really dead now. You can remove that. But Yelp and Yellow Pages, that's fine. Let's go to the contact. So here, geocode was not successful for the following. So you've got some code error in your site that's popping up a thing which can be something that people get nervous about when they start seeing pop-ups saying things are denied. They start getting worried that their information's getting stolen and stuff. So just be aware of that that's an issue on your site. Email, if I'm looking down here at the corner when it comes up, looks like it's going to the right place as a Gmail. Ideally, you'd want a URL or a email that was connected to your domain. So, info at kind of a thing would be ideal, but you don't have to. Again, you got a phone number, address, and I guess this is sort of an app to get directions. Again, on mobile, this isn't overly helpful. It's easier just to be able to click the button. So I would rework that for sure, just to make it a little bit friendlier for those that are on mobile. As I slide over here, don't worry about that. Let's move over to Facebook. Okay, so again, a couple things is, get rid of that. The banner photo here, again, it's the building. It's not an overly great photo, and it doesn't spark any kind of interest as a person. There's no relationship building there. People don't have a relationship with a building typically. You want to have some people in there, someone that they can relate to. Again, you've got kind of a picture of an office with nobody in it. So far, I don't even know who to look for when I come into the building. So that kind of comes back to that personal branding and building that personal relationship is put a picture of a person there or a pet. But an empty room with empty chairs is probably not the best idea there. You do have your story filled out, which is good. A lot of people seem to miss that for some reason. You have your own custom Facebook domain so that's also really good. Amazing how many people I see that have not done that. So you've got a decent number of likes. That's pretty good for a business like yours. I'd be pretty happy with that. I do think one strategy moving forward would be to work on growing that. But the ideal way to grow that is with people who are in your area, who are clients, customers, people that board their pets, people that come as a part of the community to get their pets' veterinary needs taken care of. So you don't want this to just be a bunch of random people in India, because that's not going to do you any good. So you really want this to be real, helpful followers. You've got your address, you've got your email. Let's just double check the email, make sure that actually works. Here's another little issue as I look up here. That PDF is actually called unnamed PDF. Probably not the best thing, particularly if someone's going to be saving that to their computer in order to download it. They're going to be looking for a name, and calling it unnamed is not helpful. I would change the name to be, the name of the form that it actually needs to be. So this is, let's see, I don't remember what the name of the form was. New client form. So you might call it, Elam Animal Hospital new client form. Something to be very specific so it's easy for them to find it, because, again, sometimes computers are set up in a way that it auto-saves to a certain folder or to the last place that stuff was saved, and they can't find it, and so being able to search for it, and they'll never find it if it's called unnamed. So that's just a courtesy kind of thing. But going back to Facebook, you've got some good content here. It's still loading. Let's see. You're posting stuff, looks like on a fairly regular basis, not every day, which is fine. I don't believe you need to post something every day, though if you do, that's awesome. But I think it's better, just to be sure that you're somewhat consistent so that people can see that, yeah, something has happened on this page in the last few days, few weeks, rather than, oh, it hasn't been updated since March. So you've got stuff on here. What I am seeing is that it's just not getting a lot of engagement. One share by you and a few other folks that are liking it. So I would work on creating some valuable content. Content that's going to be, like, this is good valuable content. It's like a hazard. It's something that seems easy for people to like and share. I think the issue is that organically you're just not getting a lot of eyeballs on your site or on your Facebook page naturally. So if you've got really good content that you want to push out like that, especially around the holidays, if it's good for that, you might consider making that into like an ad and pushing that out, even if it's just to the people who have already engaged with your brand. So people that have already liked your Facebook page or visited your website or something like that, follow you on Instagram, they're already familiar with the brand, and now they're getting some helpful information from you over the holidays. That kind of marketing is very, very inexpensive. I mean, you could put $30 behind that and reach almost everybody on your community here. So that's just one idea. Um, but yeah, it just seems like, generally speaking, it's the one share. This got a lot, and that's probably because people were sharing it because you were closed. Um, Cute little memes. Yeah, it's a not a bad way. Stuff like that is easy to share. It's funny. It doesn't necessarily convert into clients or customers, but it does convert into brand awareness. One thing you want to make sure you do is um, I'm not really going to be able to show you this. I'm going to have to show you on a different time. But if you click on this section here, it's going to show you everybody that liked it. In my case, because I'm not an admin, I only get the option of adding friends. You would actually get the option of inviting them to like your page. And that's a really powerful thing. So when you do have something that goes a little bit further than normal, click that, invite them to like your page if they haven't already, and that's another way to gain some new likes for your page pretty quickly. And so again, here I'm willing to bet you've probably got some new people in some of these that didn't interact. This is great. Whatever you did here, how cold is too cold? That's really helpful information. This is the kind of stuff that does really well. I'm really excited about that. You can see how well this did. It's simple, it's easy to share, and it's branded here. The one thing I would say is that this photo, I'd like to see your name or your logo incorporated into that so that when people see it, they understand it. When this image is small like this, it's really kind of hard to tell what it is. It's a little easier when it's the big profile picture, but I would find a better image that lets you decide exactly who you are, even in that small little thumbnail. But this kind of content is very educational. It's very easy to share, and obviously it worked. It got a lot of shares. It got a lot more shares than it got liked, which meant people were probably more interested in sharing it out right away, which is not a bad thing. So, but I would make sure that you're going through and inviting those people to like your page. And if I remember right, I didn't see any links to Instagram to look at. So I guess we're not going to look at that. But those are some quick ideas and thoughts about your website. I would definitely look at reworking your website as a whole to be much more mobile friendly. I think you really are ready for a new design and layout. This design, I don't know how old it actually is, but it feels fairly old. It also has terrible, terrible SEO. And by SEO, I mean search engine optimization. It's not something that I preach a lot about, but if you look at the URL here, this page is called ID0112. And that's just not optimized. It should be something about veterinary, hospital, boarding, so, an actual word, term, search kind of thing, so that Google easily knows what this is what's going on with this page. And it's just an easy way to optimize your site a little bit more. But this just isn't helpful at all. Basically, naming it anything else related to animals or veterinary care or boarding would be better. So this, let me just make sure, yeah. This is another sort of sin where you've got the phone number here and it looks like you can click it, but it's really the thing that's taking you back to the home page, which is what makes this home page button kind of irrelevant. But on a new version, you would want to be able to click on the phone number itself so that people who are on a mobile device can just click on it to call you right away. So those are some initial reactions. I think what I would do is, first step is definitely work on a website redesign. Getting it mobile friendly, kind of figuring out some of this navigation here, combining the staff and the about us, really giving some thought to how to rework this our services section where you can kind of quickly and more visually see what you offer. Because I'll be honest, this I missed like the first 2 times I came here looking for it. I just thought you didn't have anything at all. It just completely skipped over it. So if I did that, other people are doing that too. And you really just want to give people the information they want as quickly as possible. So there's a lot of ways to go about that. And then again, connect with us. I would add your phone number, maybe even here too, just because it's another way to connect. Or you can just add Facebook to this section here because that's all related to. So kind of combine those just to make it a little less text heavy. So I hope that helped. If you have any questions, let me know. And I look forward to talking to you soon. Have a great day.